I wasn't expecting to do this, but the bill was just too much. So I'm coming out of the closet or the woodwork or something to give my testimony. And Representative Bella Wilkinson, thank you for your kind words because my family doesn't know, my friends really don't know about my abortion. I was a farm girl from Oregon, came out here to RISD, and had a boyfriend, and my first year I went to Planned Parenthood and was put on the pill, and as far as I knew it was 98% effective. Missed the day and didn't realize it would drop to 55%. I became pregnant, and the only birth control information my mom ever gave me was, don't you ever leave a baby on my doorstep. So, because a friend of hers, the daughter got pregnant, and whole ordeal. So I was embarrassed and I was scared, and I made an appointment with Planned Parenthood. And it's interesting to hear Mary Ann Sorrentino to get a face of the woman in charge of Planned Parenthood back in the time when I was going there. So I made an appointment and ended up in a little white office. And being a very naive person, there are no posters of families. There's no smiling babies. No parenthood in that room. There was no mention of adoption. There was no telling me of places for unwed mothers to go. It was just abortion. That was the only thing that was talked about. And $1,200 later, had an abortion. I gave up my child. And ironically, my boyfriend's aunt was a teacher. I'm a teacher. And she was taking a one-year sabbatical because she couldn't conceive. So I was carrying her DNA. I was carrying her flesh and blood. But I did not put the two together. Did not have the courage or the support to consider adoption. So I just think it was a terrible waste. Planned Parenthood didn't tell me of the hormonal issues that would happen when your cycle starts again, and I became suicidal for a short time, but it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And it wasn't because I wasn't at the understanding really of what I had done to my baby. I wasn't there yet. It's just that the hormones I wasn't prepared. And so hopefully things have changed with Planned Parenthood with that. And they're more supportive and they're more informative. Later on, I got married, and I had given birth to my first son, but then I remember the day when I looked in the mirror, and I had to look at my face in the mirror and say, this is not your first son. This is not your first child. You killed your first child. So then I became Catholic. I wasn't Catholic, but I became Catholic after this knowledge and this understanding, and thought, a church that feels that this is so wrong, and I know this is so wrong now, as I've woken up to the fact, I joined the Catholic Church. Strangely enough, I named my child Eric Jacob Achilles, and somebody handed this to me. I really didn't have knowledge of my baby was probably a little bit bigger than this, but I just didn't have the knowledge. It's a little boy. But here it is. My marriage was abusive. I have 4 sons. I had 3 sons, and I was pregnant with my 4th, and I was already meeting with a lawyer, and I had counseling to get out of the marriage. There was a safe house for me and my kids to go if I needed. I had lots of support, but my doctor, my counselor, my lawyer, they're all saying, I needed to get an abortion because of my situation. But I didn't. I hung in there, and I hung in, I stayed in my marriage. I could have left, but it wasn't quite that bad. And I gave birth to my wonderful son. He's 22. He's a musician. He's just an awesome person. All my sons are I love them dearly. They're my life. And just a couple thoughts. I'm a teacher at a high school in Rhode Island. We had 17 chairs outside my classroom for the students that were gunned down in Florida. And it just occurred to me, you know, how many chairs how many kids are missing from this school through abortion? How many chairs would be needed to show for those that were lost? And another thing, ultrasounds. If we all had to watch an ultrasound to see truly what happens in abortion, you know, before you have an abortion, this is what happens. This is we witnessing a child being aborted. I know it's gruesome, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And so we would see the truth, and then you make your decision. And, you know, we got to work on support for women. But abortion it's just not birth control, it's murder. And so...